not only read, but let's say I put a lot of time in, like 15 years of getting out there.
Right.
And, there were consistent patterns of like, well, girls do this, and I don't know why they do it. I guess they just must be crazy. Like, there's every book that I read, they might touch on that, but they don't actually explain why. They just say, well, sometimes girls do that. Or if girls do this, make sure you do this, because otherwise they're going to be pissed. And
right.
There was no why. Whereas after your course, I was like, okay, I see what's going on. Like, I understand the principles I understand the principles better of what's going on.
In other words, instead of blindly just reading a book saying, don't do this, do that when she does that, and you're lost with a bunch of blanks going, but why? Right?
Right.
And so now you're afraid to do the technique because you're like, but this is weird. Why would I do this? This doesn't make it, because to the male brain, you're like, that doesn't make any sense to my brain. Why would I do that in a million years? So a big part of my course is explaining what's going on behind the scenes in the unconscious mind in her neurology, the way she's wired. And the more you understand that, also you're like, oh, God, that makes a lot of sense now.
Right.
Yeah, it brings a lot of clarity. So now talking about how you have to understand one piece to connect to another, I'm going to wrap back to the very first piece that we started with, and I'm going to wrap back to the female part. So the reason why women's mating system is connected to a right brain's communication processor is because a male who has a broader range of communication can become a leader, because number one, he is internal. Because in order to open up to the right brain, you have to be mentally and emotionally grounded and connected physically, because your information is in your body. So now what happens, instead of going, what do you think? What do you think? I don't know. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? That's not a leader. When a leader's out here going, follow me, you're not even following you. You're not a self-led man. You're not led internally. When you're led internally, unconsciously, people go, dunk, and they're like, okay, that guy knows what he's doing. It's an unconscious thing that their brain knows, like, oh, that guy knows where he's going, versus this other dude that's doing this ego trip, like, yeah, I'm going to fake, like they're going to fake it, right? They're going to act like I'm a leader. You can't act. Women especially won't fall for it.
Right.
Because they're very internal. So the cool thing is when you are internal, it brings her internal. Unconsciously, she drops in and says, oh, I feel good. And women will say, I don't know what it is, but being around that guy, I just feel really good when I'm around him, and that's why I like him. And they're not logically, scientifically, well, the reason is because he's internal and right brain and left brain, left language, right language. They're not doing that. All they know is they feel good around that guy.
Right.
Because Mother Nature has wired her to feel good around guys that are internal. So let's go back to the broader range of communication when a man opens up to his right brain. So if you're a logical guy, you can only communicate, especially if you're very analytical and scientific, well, you're unconsciously speaking a very linear language, an analytical language. And then there's guys that are over left brain, but not so much, right? And so they speak this language. And then there's guys that are a little bit more over. And some guys, usually the physical guys, the football players or construction guys, they're physical, so it forces them to be in their body, which means they've crossed over to the right brain a little bit. Those are the guys that generally tend to be able to have somewhat good relationships with women on an unconscious level, okay? So the idea is because now they're unconsciously, they can speak her language at least a little bit. So the idea is when you broaden your range of communication, now you can talk to this person, and the construction guy's here is like, yeah, I've been trying to tell the architect or the designer to make it 1 foot by 2 foot with a rounded edge, blah, blah, blah. And so I, the translator, go, okay, what he's trying to say is blah, 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 blah. And the scientist, so the scientist goes, oh, well, why didn't he say that? And the construction guy goes, oh, I said that 10 times. He did say it, but he said it in the wrong language that he can't process over there. So this guy can only lead these guys or talk to these guys. But if you're broader, you can talk to a full range of people, including right brain people. So now you can understand all these different people and you can get the group to work together. And that is what a tribe needs. That's what a business needs. That's what a military needs. That's what a country needs. So the broader your communication, it triggers a mating system. Now, Marcus, do you remember why that triggers a mating system?
No, refresh me.
Because a man who is right brain is a guy who's self-led, which means he has a broader range of communication, which means the tribe's going to push that guy up the ladder to become a leader, at least whether it's an assistant manager, a general manager, a CEO, vice president, president, whatever. Okay? Those are the guys that are going to be better. They're going to be better taken care of, well fed, which means ultimately their children are going to be better protected, better educated, and well fed. And that is her mating system's number one job, to make sure her offspring are going to have a better opportunity in the future. And that's what it's all about. And thus, it makes her horny to want to have sex with you. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I have a kind of an interesting story. It's maybe a little bit personal, but it's okay. There was a girl I was hanging out with a while ago,
Right.
and it was after I'd taken your course, and she didn't like to hear any kind of left brain talk. Like, she was like, I'd tell her about some book I read, she didn't want to know. She didn't want to hear anything. But the thing she would always say is like, look, you don't have to tell me that stuff. Like, I don't care about that. I just like hanging out with you. And I said, what is it that you like about that? And she said, I don't know. I just feel like a girl.
Right.
And she's somebody that's, super career focused, like very left brained person.
Wow.
And, she really found it difficult to disconnect. And even though it wasn't conscious,
Right.
when she was around me and I was in my right brain, she could feel like she was a girl.
Right. So basically what it was I've actually met a few women who, and again, there's a whole wide range. Not all women are this way. But I've actually met a woman who's very powerful at work. She had a very high position. She was the boss, blah, blah, blah. And you could tell the way she dressed and walked and moved. And I'm the boss. And I even told her to her, I could tell you're the boss at work, aren't you? Because I actually bumped into her at a restaurant or something. She goes, yeah. And I go, but you're married. I go, how does it work with your husband? I go, is he kind of a feminine guy? She goes, oh, no, he's very masculine. He's the take charge dude. I'm like, how does that work? She goes, oh, when I go home, he's the boss. She goes, the last thing I want to do is think. She goes, at work, she's cool with thinking and getting shit done. But she goes, when I go home, she goes, that's his job. She goes, and I relax. I was like, okay. So that's, a good balance, I would like to think, or a form of balance. So let me wrap this whole thing up, and you can say whatever you want after this, but how we started was, so we have the higher purpose. The male mating system wants the baby to be in a healthy body. The female mating system wants a male who has a broad range of communication, meaning he's figured out how to open up to his right brain, which is what my course is about. And because he'll be a better provider for the children, ultimately, in the family. So now let's wrap it up. So we were talking about the spiritual side. That's how we started this video out. And you said it's ultimately about everyone's connected to everyone. Yes. The challenge, though, is most men are external. You connect to everyone by being internally connected and expansive. If you do this way, you're only connected to one person. Even then, you're not truly connected to them. So a lot of men walk around disconnected, and it's like they're like, well, they don't know. There's something missing, but they haven't quite figured out what it is.
Right.
So when you connect into your body, now this is your radar system, your five senses. Now you can see with clarity and farther away. You have more awareness peripherally. And auditorily, you have a greater awareness that expands out. And kinesthetically, the same thing. And smells and flavors. That's what it means to be more aware of someone. That way you can read them better and connect better and understand their communication better. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
All right. So did you have anything else to say to that?
No, I think we covered a lot of stuff. I'm good.
Yeah, I am too. I'm getting tired. All right. So, hey, this is Mike Colleen at MikeColleen.com, MikeKollin.com. I have books for women. They're 2 short books. I would buy them. It goes over a lot of what we're talking about here, but it's much more complete. Again, they're only about 60 pages each or less. And for men, I highly recommend you get the book Crack the Female Code, to the point where I won't let people take my course until they've read the book, because the course it's an overwhelming it's an overwhelming mindfuck for most men, because the female system brain, communication, love, emotions, the way she receives love from you, and the way a woman is turned on is literally in the opposite way that a man would think in a million years. Would you say there's a lot of truth to that?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Did you want to say something? Or?
No, I'm just remembering, like, all the things that have happened since I've taken your course.